The developers of Call of Dragon have released a new video highlighting and showing us everything new coming in the next patch, which is dropping very shortly, along with the new heroes and their abilities, the new artifact, what it does, the new war pets, Spires, and so much more. So in today's video, I'm going to go over all the changes and let you know some of the information that we learned from this video and some of the information that I personally know from looking at everything in here. So first, the thing they talk about in the beginning would be spires and turret. You can see right here, this is what a spire looks like. Now, we theorized in the previous video that this could be something that has to do with rallying and doing something offensive with that. Sadly, I don't think it looks like that. It's really hard to know from this image. As you can tell, it has durability, which means that you probably have to, break down its shield and then capture the durability. There's auto attacks, which means that it will attack, I guess, around it. It is a bit unclear, but it does look, like there is going to be something more to it that will be adding to the PvE content right now, because obviously the PvE content as of now is really just open field, since there is really nothing to rally in this game so far. So we'll see how that looks. There's participation rewards, which are very low but give some of the prestige. So obviously this is a level 1 spire. So this is going to be adding a bit of spice into the PvE content of the game. So in any case, I think this is going to be pretty exciting. This also comes with turrets. Now these turrets are going to cost 10,000 prestige to build, and there's 3 types of turrets. These are the same as barricades, so you build them the same way, and you are limited to 3 of them only on the field at once. A fire turret deals heavy damage to legions. Ice turret deals damage and slows enemies, which is going to be pretty damn good. And the poison turret deals damage and inflict infirm. We've never seen that in game as far as I know, but obviously it's going to be some kind of dot or debuff, being that it's poison. So these turrets will be researchable in the new policies. As you can see, there's a lot of new policies. We can see a bit more in the future of the video as well, but this is really going to be where you get the turrets and a lot of the new stuff. So it's going to be all policy related. Sadly, the 9 million gems will not be coming with it. But everything else should be there in the next patch. Now, if you look here, it is showing you how to build them. So limit of 3 can be built on Alliance territory only, and same as a barricade. So you'll be putting them around to defend passes and stuff, little areas that are choke points. This is going to change the game in a very dramatic way, along with the spires, because obviously barricades were already OP enough as defense. Nobody could do anything, and you could win against huge odds if enemies are in a bad position and you have a good defense. So turrets will just make that even worse. So I'll be very interested to see what that looks like, because it's going to change the game very, very drastically, having all these new things in the open world, as well as the rally meta, which does not exist anymore, since rallies will not attack enemy marches in the open field anymore. They will only counterattack, which makes a huge difference in the way Season 2 was played. Now, of course, next, the 2 new infantry heroes. We knew they were coming, but we now have access to all of their skills and know exactly what they do. So we'll start with Skogul. Skogul is, this one, the girl-looking one, and she is going to be the Wheel of Fortune hero, which means that it is going to be easy to unlock her for everybody. And this is going to be a very counterattack infantry based hero, which is what we predicted. It makes sense. Infantry, PvP, and mobility, so a lot of movement speed infantry stuff. It is not probably going to be what you want, as if you're going to be counterattacking, the infantry and PvP tree have some of it, but the tank tree can offer a lot as well. So we'll have to see exactly how we're going to match her up. Obviously, this is going to be a very unique rage skill. So her rage skill is that she will gain Vigor and Blood Fury for 2 seconds. Vigor is an HP buff. It will go up to 15%. So a very decent 15 HP buff for 6 seconds, which is a very long time for a rage skill, because you cast rage skills quite often during fights, sometimes faster than 6 seconds. So this could be a permanent buff during a big fight, basically. But really, the thing that is unique here is Blood Fury. Legions deal additional counterattack damage every second to all legions at close range when they launch a normal attack at your legion. So when a legion at close range is launching a normal attack at your legion, you're going to be doing additional counterattack damage every second to all legions at close range. So when someone's attacking you, everyone around that legion is also going to be taking counterattack damage, not just the person attacking you. The more targets you have, the less damage they take. obviously, because otherwise it could get quite crazy. But still, for 6 seconds, you get this buff, and then when they're attacking you, you're doing crazy amount of counter-attack damage AoE. So this is going to be a very interesting skill. It is going to be obviously something that is going to be more focused around well, because personally, even at 30 million power, my infantry doesn't last more than 2 seconds in any fight whatsoever if there's multiple people attacking it. So this is going to be a very T5 focus hero. Anyone who's not a well is not going to get much out of this, because you need to tank a lot of damage to do much. So you need to be stronger than your opponent, or otherwise you will just get melted. But in any case, still very interesting mechanic. You'll have to watch out for Skogul in the field when there's big wells who have them, because it is going to do a lot of AoE counterattack damage, and you do not want to do that. Second skill, Unshakable, is going to make a 5% all the way to 20% infantry physical attack bonus and 10% HP. So this is just, basic buffing, nothing too special about it. Physical attack bonus is good because that's the kind of damage they do, and HP bonus on top of the HP bonus that comes with the active skill. So we're having a lot of HP here, up to basically 15% when the rage skill is open, and 10% more, so 25% HP. HP obviously being the best stat in the game, same as Rise of Kingdom, but also being that you are infantry, it is going to be even better of a stat for these units. The third skill will be a very interesting skill. So they will gain 60% march speed every time they rampage, and 1% attack every time they launch a counterattack, up to a maximum of 10%. So obviously this attack percentage buff will obviously go up to 25%, and this will happen often because when you do launch counterattack with the rage skill, it will happen very quickly because you're launching counterattacks on a lot of targets. Hopefully, at least that is how it works, but in any case, this will stack up quite quickly no matter what. But the 60% march speed is where it gets interesting. To know exactly how rampage work, you come in game here, you click on your swordman. It is the first ability that the infantry units have. It is basically the charge. When they're approaching a enemy legion, they get march speed increase and they charge into them. It is not extremely fast, but it is fast enough to usually catch most enemies. And then after colliding, the target is slowed for 8 seconds. It's really, really good. And it is going to counter cavalry really hard and can be triggered every 12 seconds. Now, this happens every single time you engage an enemy with infantry from afar. You charge into them, which means you rampage into them, which means you gain the buff for 8 seconds. Now, looking back here with the hero, you gain 60% march speed every time they rampage, which means that you already gain march speed when you're rampaging. Now, in this situation with this hero, you're going to gain 60 extra march speed, which means you're going to be a rocket and you are going to catch your target. In my opinion, this is going to be most likely very, very, very strong, because the 60% doesn't need to have any points invested. So if you have 1 point, you will gain the 60%. The attack bonus is not what you care about as infantry, which means that this hero might be playable as a 5-1-1-1 or 5-5-1-1 type of hero, or at least do this effect quite well, which is going to be exceptionally good against Cavs, because you're going to basically be countering them, preventing them from attacking your backline or harassing. You're going to be able to chase them around with this. This is going to be a very interesting gameplay style. Even if you don't invest in this hero so much, having this skill available on your infantry will allow you to do a lot of extra plays in the open field. I think this is going to be very solid. We'll have to see exactly how it translates in game. There's also a few other heroes that give rampage, like Bakar, as well as Husk. They give rampage with their active skill, which means that when you have Husk and her, which is a pretty bad march in terms of like anything, there is counter-attack and stuff, but Husk is a weird hero to match with infantry. It could probably still work, but in any case, you will be gaining 60% march speed when Husk casts his main ability, same as Bakar. Last skill of Skogul is going to mean that her legion has a 10% chance of receiving healing when hit by a normal attack. Healing factor goes up to 350, starts at 150. This can be triggered every 5 seconds, which means that you're getting hit, regularly. You're going to be getting 350 or 150 heals. This is very low, the amount, but it happens consistently. So it is going to give you a little bit of durability. There is nothing wrong with it, but it is obviously, a pretty small factor. The ascended skill is going to be simply a 10% more counterattack damage. So this is obviously a hero that's meant for the open field, meant to do a lot of counterattack and meant to do a lot of damage AoE by counterattacking, some tankiness, some movement speed, countering infantry, countering cavalry because of the interception all the time. I personally would love to use her maybe like Madeline Skogul or even Tia Skogul. Just keep them close to my archers and my mages in the back. Make sure that the blinking cabs and stuff can't really do anything. And that to me will be the best use that this hero can do until I get much stronger with T5. One thing to keep in note though is that in the Roots of War, where things matter a little bit less with the T5, T4, where it's, you know, your troops, even if they die quickly, doesn't matter. There's a role to be played. A hero like this with a lot of ability, a lot of counterattack could prove very useful. So I do think she will have a very good place to play in stuff like that. But from talking with some of the T5 worlds on my server, I do not know if Madeline and like Garwood will be something that this will beat, because she will melt incredibly quickly no matter how much counterattack damage she's doing, because all she has is a little heal and a bit of HP, which other heroes also offer. So it will be interesting to see. I think she's going to be too squishy to be a frontline, but I think she's going to be fun mobility infantry to do a lot of fun plays on the map. Next we have Goresh. He is the strongest Lord hero. He is the big guy you can see right here in the back, and he will be offering a completely different type of gameplay. You can't see it very well here in the video, but he has basically rally, tank, and infantry. So he's a tanky rally hero for infantry. Of course, his rage skill is going to give him physical keen and resistance. Physical keen offers physical attack of 20% all the way to 50%. So this is a very, very good bonus. And damage taken reduction 15%. But really 6 seconds of 15% damage reduction and 50% physical attack is actually very, very powerful. If there was any type of rally meta in this game, this would be a very strong hero for it. Of course, he is a rally hero. He is meant for it. He's going to do a lot of white damage, which means like just the normal attack damage. And he's going to do a lot of counter attack damage at the same time. And 15% damage reduction is huge, because in the way it's phrased, it would mean any damage, skill, hero, magic. It is just damage taken reduction. So this is a very massive buff. It is very, very powerful. Second skill, Steel Skin. All infantry gain 5% defense and deal 5% more counterattack damage. So 20 and 15. So 20% increased counterattack damage is double the awakened skill of Skogul. So the number is really high. It makes the awakened skill of Skogul look so weak in comparison. So this is really, really good. And of course, defense bonus by 15%. Always good to be tanky. It would be better if it was HP, but still, it's good. It's not a bad stat. So this, obviously, being an infantry, counterattack is the name of the game. It will also mean that Goresh and Skogul will work very well together as a counterattack pair. It is going to be very interesting to see the counterattack meta come out of this. Again, it is going to be the kind of hero that is going to work only for wells. If you're T4, your infantry will get melted. An ET5 looking at you will just literally destroy you in 1 second. It is not even worth coming out of your city with infantry unless you are a pretty strong player. So this is a bit sad about these heroes, because most people won't get any use out of them. But still, it is going to be a meta of the game. It will change the way the game is played. So this is something you have to know nonetheless. The third skill, Ruthless, will make it so that when his Legion, Goresh's Legion, launches a counterattack, they have a 50% chance to deal additional damage to up to 5 surrounding legions. Each additional legion is taking 15% of damage, can be triggered 2 times per second. So this is very similar to Skogul, being that you will do AoE counterattack damage when you're being attacked and you do counterattack. It's a little bit different the way it works, and the skill damage factor is 200. So this is really not bad. It's a pretty low skill damage factor, but because it adds up, you know, happens 2 times per second, it will add up 400 damage per second on top of you're actually doing the counterattack damage as well. And this is skill damage factor. So this is going to be very interesting. Now this is going to be physical damage. So again, this is also very good because he boosts a lot of physical damage. So this is going to make it so that hero obviously you will never be able to swarm a rally by this hero. So in Roots of War, this will have a lot of play as well. But really just meaning that these new heroes, they just are focused on counterattack. They will go well together. They'll go well with Madeline, who offers a lot of defensiveness, which will make them last longer and do more counterattack. Tia also has a lot of counterattack, but is very squishy. Garwood offers a lot of healing and defensive, which also will go work well with these guys. So we'll have to see what heroes are going to be the best combos. But this is going to offer offer a lot of different gameplay in the open field when heroes like this on T5 with a lot of really good stats behind them are going to be not a good choice to target with mages and archers, because you might end up taking so much damage or killing all the troops beside you from the counter attack. So interesting, very, very interesting new ways of things going to happen in this game. A counter-attack is going to become much more of a meta. Now, it will just be depending on how squishy these guys really are, because if they just insta-melt, doing counter-attack damage doesn't mean anything. So really, we'll have to test them out in the field, and so far, they don't seem very tanky. A lot of their stuff is offensive, so it is going to be something that I might end up being disappointed about, because they might just not be viable because of how squishy they are. The last skill is going to be his besieging skill, so his rally skill. It's very nice that this skill is in the 4th slot here, because it means that this hero can be played without maxing completely. For example, Nico, his 2nd skill is engineering, which means that when you're putting skills into and they go into engineering, it's like wasted as opposed to the other skills. So this one you can wait, don't unlock the last skill, and put everything you can in the first 3, or depending if you want to just do 5-5-1-1 type like things. But like really just the fact that this is so far back is going to make it a lot easier to build this hero appropriately. Now, this skill is very basic. When they attack a stronghold, a city, they gain 20% attack bonus. So this is a very offensive damage hero. In a rally, he will do so much counterattack damage that you shouldn't probably touch him and attack him at all. So I feel like in the open field or in the regular war, he's going to be completely pointless, because there is nothing to rally other than cities, and that happens very rarely, and it's in this game it's not really beneficial, but still it could be good, and he will obviously be one of the best rally heroes for that reason, because no one can swarm him. But this is going to be a Roots of War hero. I'm fairly certain he is going to be a king in Roots of War for rallying objectives, because he is going to be obviously very, very high damage, white damage, which is what rallies do a lot of, and cannot be swarmed, otherwise you do so much counterattack damage. So, again, this hero is going to have its niche. It's going to work very well in doing what it does, but is going to be focused, again, for T5 players who can manage to be attacked by enemies for a long time. Last, the Awaken skill of this hero is going to be a pretty interesting buff. Basically, this is the skill that we were at earlier. So this gives physical attack and damage taken 15%. So this is his rage skill. This is going to boost it for 60% and 20% damage taken less. So this is a slight boost. Obviously, it's not a massive number difference, which also means this hero will be playable without being maxed, meaning that the difference between maxed or not maxed is not huge. If you are obviously a well, you will have to max him to get the most benefit, but it just means this hero, it's not a necessity to awaken him to get the use of the hero to some degree. Obviously, most people won't be rallying if you're not a whale, but it's just interesting to see, like, the buffs of the awaken skills are very small compared to how good their normal abilities are, which is very different from Rise of Kingdom, where some heroes just cannot be played without their awaken skill. Here, they're just slight buffs. So I do like that a lot, but again, I just don't like this hero for anyone but whales. Now, there is a new artifact that is built specifically for these new counterattack heroes. Of course, this is going to be an amazing artifact for both PvP and PvE. So this artifact offers defense. Defense is very good. HP is better, defense is still fine. On infantry, you do want defense, so that's fine. Here, rage cost has 400, a cooldown on 1 minute 30, so this will be a pretty easy to cast artifact. It doesn't require a lot of rage buildup, and grants 600 rage point to the hero doing it, and taunts 5 surrounding legions, forcing them to attack you for 3 seconds. It also says your legion gains shelter and some other buffs, and there could be more at the bottom here. They're not scrolling, so they're not showing it to us in the video, but there could be more effects to this. In any case, having a taunt, obviously we just talked about these 2 new heroes. They're full counterattack damage base. If you're taunting, which means you're getting attacked, which means you're counterattacking, which means you're triggering the rage skills, you're doing AoE counterattack, you're doing a lot. So this obviously will be very valuable. Giving 600 rage point, which is out of 1,000, means that you're basically going to instant cast your rage skill, which activates all of their stuff. So this is obviously very powerful. It could also be very powerful on Madeline, which activates her shield. So you wait until she just casts her shield, or just casts their rage ability, whoever hero you're putting it on, and then you activate the artifact, which will basically make them cast the skill very quickly right away afterwards. So this is going to have very interesting play. Also in PvE, currently most people tanking are using the other taunt artifact, which is like a blue artifact, which is pretty bad, but it has the taunt and you need taunt for PvE. So this will give a legendary alternative, which will have more stats and more of everything in general. Now, if you look here, it says they gain shelter and determination. So those are defensive buff. I don't know what determination is. I looked around and I couldn't find it anywhere. There is no skill that I can see that gives determination. We do see shelter, so they're defensive buffs for 30 seconds, which is a very, very long time. So this is obviously going to be very powerful. I can't wait to see if you can scroll lower, what does it give you. Also, if you put more into it, you gain like more rage, or do you taunt more enemies, or do you taunt them for longer. So that will be interesting to see. In general though, I would say this is going to become one of the best artifact for infantry in the game. Again, a very T5 focus artifact, because it is going to be, you're going to be attacked by 5 legions. No one but T5 can handle 5 legions attacking them. Still though, very, very interesting, very good artifact. A much better artifact than the previous one that they released for Ferondil. This will have much more of an utility for many aspects of the game. They also talked about the way that you can now level to 60 with PvE content. Also, Darklings are going to go way higher in level. You're going to have like 39, 37, I think it goes like to 40 something, maybe even 50. So it's going to be much stronger in terms of Darklings. You get more rewards and more XP, so it will do a big change in that way. And if we look here, this shows that basically artifacts and the dust is not part of this anymore. So this is all the stuff that gets wiped at the end of the season, and it used to include all the artifact stuff, and now it doesn't, so which is obviously great. One last reminder, anything that is on this list, if you have it right now at the end of the season, use it. There is no point in keeping it. Now the next change is going to be about the affiliated regions. So the season 2.5 is going to be basically having 6 regions to choose from when you start. There's 6 starting zones, and alliances basically can choose a starting zone, and then all their members automatically get assigned to that. You don't have to rethink it and stuff like that. So it will make the process from one season to the other very, very good, much easier, much more streamlined. You don't lose your alliance, you don't have to re-invite all the members. It's going to change that in a very nice way. Also, you can see here that the true zone is also going to be a neutral ground. Basically, you will travel, it's like a little island you can travel to, and meaning you can't get attacked. There's no PvP, so every player is passive there. You can't attack anyone, so just farm. So perfect place to go for the farmers and the ones who want to be on vacation, for example. And then there is also going to be the map here. So this is the season plus 2 plus. This is what the map looks like. Now you can see none of the behemoths have changed, so it's the exact same as the season that we have just played, season 2, but there is many more zones. Obviously there is 6 starting zone. I think it was 5 in season 2, but if you can see like how small some of these zones are, it's quite actually impressive, because this is a zone, this is a zone, this little thing here is a zone, this is like a very skinny zone. So I don't exactly know what's going to be happening here. Maybe they're going to be putting like more servers with less people. I don't know what the end game zone is, probably up here, which is also very small. So this is going to be interesting to see. There's just a lot of small zones, a lot more zones, and they're all small. So we'll see what that looks like. It is interesting. I like it to see some changes. Now the biggest change of this patch by far, I think it is the most massive change in the way the game is played. I talked about it in the previous video, so I'm not going to talk too much, but this is it. You can see here what this is: Resurgence. So Resurgence means you could switch side, other alliance, other zones all season long. You would get the malice of having you heal your troop and all that stuff, but now 7 days at the beginning of the season you can research. So the first week, decide which side you want to be, which alliance, which region, everything. After the first 7 days, you cannot research until this. This is the last Ogre Stone of the season, so it doesn't come until the very end of the season, which means that from the first week in up to the last week of the season, you will not be able to change region. You can change alliance only towards people who are in your region. So if your group goes to one of the region A, While region B, C, D, E, and F, you cannot go there ever until the last second of the season, where you can then migrate and change whatever, which obviously will happen. But during the season, you have to stay with the people you're with. You don't get to choose. You can't betray. You can't do anything. You're in your region, and that's it. So this is going to change the way the game is played dramatically. As Skogul, who has called this game basically a betrayal meta, is completely accurate. It is the betrayal meta, because you could just flip-flop, just join the whoever's winning at the alliance. The Dragon War is happening, your alliance lost, all the big players just switch over to the next side because they want the reward. This happens a lot, and it is beneficial to betray because of that. But now you cannot, because if your side loses, well, you don't get any reward. So there is going to be a massive shift in the way the game is played, and this is going to be it. So this is going to be great. I'm really excited to see how this game progresses with that. A few other changes. Of course, prestige is going to be earned differently now. It says here, prestige, Darkling or Beast, destroying Darkling forts, completing season story, or donating to Alliance. This is for policies. The Dragon Trail used to be the main area where you would get any prestige, so this is going to change dramatically, and it's going to make a focus where you have to do a lot of PvE content early on to get your prestige up, and you don't have to do the boring Dragon Trail over and over again for the same reason. So this is going to be a very welcome quality of life change. The last big change of this video is showing us some of the policies. We know that the entire policy tree has been reworked. Some of this is the same as it was before, but as you can see, all the plus production has been removed and changed for healing. So this will reduce the cost to resource heal your troops. We also saw earlier that there's towers that you can research in here now, and some other stuff I've obviously removed, and some new things related to healing troops and stuff has been added at the beginning as well. So the whole policy will be quite different. It's obviously at the end still going to be pretty similar. Military expansion and the healing stuff is going to be the priority as always, but it's nice to see that there is going to be a little bit of stuff that helps us heal more with less cost, and it will be a good step forward in the healing system for this game. So guys, make sure to check out this video on the official Call of Dragon YouTube channel if you're interested, as they offer very nice information. Obviously this is going to be a big patch with massive changes, as I talked about previously in my patch review video, but really the new heroes and the new artifact are what's coming, and I am almost certain that the next two heroes to come, which will be before season 3, are going to be the two mage heroes. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and be on the lookout for one of my upcoming videos where I chat about why I think mage heroes are coming sooner than you think.